Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to take a whole kind of garden tour of our front yard, side yard landscape renovation that we just got finished doing. It took us, I don't know, month and a half to get the entire project done. So we're going to show you the entire renovation in one video. So we're going to have some before, some afters, some during shots. If you have specific questions about any of these parts of this whole renovation, we have a whole playlist that you can go back through and look at where we planted specific ones, where we did built beds and we did drainage. So we really hope that this is going to be a fun and informative and an inspirational video. Just to kind of show you the whole overview of what we did, because my goodness, this space looks so much different than it did before. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. So just as a little recap, Jerry, we've always had kind of the idea that we wanted to redo our front because, as most of you know, we had just across the front a very simple, just boxwoods. It was narrow. We had some grass all through here. We had our sidewalk. And we just wanted to kind of jazz it up. You know, we built our house almost 21 years ago, and it was very simple, and we just wanted to update it. So we kind of come up with the ideas, and then Jerry just he goes with it. So we can just kind of say a big thank you to Jerry for all of these great ideas. And then once we kind of get it going, then I have fun with the plants and the ideas like that. So what we did, of course, was ripped out all the boxwoods, right? So those boxwoods had been here for 16, 17 years. They were massive. They were dead on the back. We wanted a fresh landscape. So we completely pulled those out because we knew that we were going to eliminate whatever grass was here in the front and then down the side and turn this entire space into basically one large bed. I consider them kind of two different gardens because they have two very different planting styles and two very different growing conditions, but really it is one bed and kind of an L-shaped. So we wanted year-round interest. We wanted something to be like a specimen on the corner of the house. We wanted flowers. We wanted color, texture, movement. Like I said, all year round for 4 seasons. Of course, we are in North Carolina, a zone 8A. So here we have on the side, we have the Electra Blue Deodora Cedar. Now, Electra Blue is going to be a compact grower. Just like there are thousands of different cultivars of roses, thousands of different kinds of hydrangeas, there are many different kinds of Deodora cedars. So if you have a Deodora cedar at your house and it gets massive, well, this is Electra Blue. It is going to be compact. It is a slower grower. It is going to be about 4 feet wide in that 10-foot range, which is nice and roughly probably in that close to 10-foot range right now, but it's going to get a little bit wider and fill in. Of course, the Deodora cedars, we love them because they are a beautiful blue tree, an evergreen. Once Electra Blue gets established, she is drought tolerant. She can handle the heat and humidity of North Carolina and retain that blue color. So we're super excited about having her here because it also matches. We have a blue Hortsman on the other side of the house, so those two will balance each other when you look at the grand scheme of the entire landscape. So Electra Blue, she is planted 6 feet off of the house, so we have got plenty of room for her to grow, and it is on the slower side, so this is not going to be a fast, rapid grower. Then, coming down the front, we do love boxwoods. Our boxwoods had just been here too long. They were a very large variety, and so we came in with the New Gen Independence boxwood. Boxwoods, of course, we love because they can do anywhere from full sun to full shade, anything in between. They are evergreen, they are low maintenance, they are deer proof. Just a great staple to have in your landscape. So we put 5 on each side. Now, New Gen Independence is going to be a slower grower. So in about 10 to 15 years, it's going to be a 3 by 3. So nice and slow. It is has a great resistance to boxwood blight. It is, when you properly take care of it, it is going to last you for a long time. So that's why we went with those. So again, 5 on each side to give us that beautiful, nice, glossy green structure that is not going to be a huge, fast grower. So we can manage it, prune it once a year, late winter going into spring, just to shape it up, and easy peasy. So we have got that. Then we came in with one of a southern kind of classic abelias. This is Mucho Gusto abelia, and we went with Mucho Gusto. We could have done a lot of different abelias, but Mucho Gusto has those beautiful classic colors of that green and that cream. It will get wider than it is tall. It is, like I said, a great southern evergreen shade. I would say part shade to full sun, because we have some that get about 5 hours of sun and they do great. These will get hot, intense afternoon sun. They will do really well. And then of course, as you can see, this little guy has some little white blooms on it, because abelias are late summer, early fall bloomers. Nice sweet fragrance that your pollinators go nuts over. Your butterflies love them, and they are beautiful. So then we have to have hydrangeas, right? Because I want flower power. So we came through with a Firelight Tidbit. Now, Firelight Tidbit is going to be nice and petite. That's why it's in the front of the flower bed. It is going to be low, a little wide. It is a panicle, so we're guaranteed to have flowers every single year. I will prune it at the end of winter, so it doesn't matter that this is north and those cold winds come through in the wintertime. It doesn't matter. Even if we get a late freeze, which typically we do, again, it does not hurt the panicles at all, because they form their flowers on that spring growth. So we're guaranteed to have flowers with those guys. And then we have got chameleon grass. So chameleon is a schizachyrium, a little blue stem. And schizachyrium is going to be more petite. So really, this is as tall as it's going to get. About 2, maybe 2.5 feet tall. And that's going to be with what we call, quote, the plumes. I wouldn't call them flowers, but with the spikes. Chameleon gets its name because it changes colors with the season. So we have got 3 here on this side. And then of course, between the chameleons and the electro blue, we have got some buddleias, some butterfly bushes. These are the butterfly candy. This is Little Taffy. And Little Taffy is that nice, soft pink. And that nice soft pink is going to really play well with the Firelight Tidbits, because the tidbits will get a nice pink color at the end of the season. So you've got those. Again, these are going to be petite butterfly bushes. They're not going to get massive, and butterfly bushes bloom on new growth. So again, we are guaranteed to have flowers every single summer into fall. Again, hence they're called butterfly candy. Your butterflies absolutely go nuts over this. So when we were creating these beds, of course, we did have grass here. We've told you many times before that we have fescue grass. It is not a creeper, it's not a runner. So, and we had to build these beds up. We'll get to that, why we had to build them up. So we had to build them up. So we just cut the grass super low, put that topsoil on top of it, amended with land and seed compost, and then planted directly in it. Now, speaking of, why did we have to build both the beds and the walkway up? Because, oh my word, y'all, nothing is flat here at Creekside, and we deal with water all the time. So before any of the fun planting began, of course, we had to come over here to the driveway, and we completely destroyed our driveway, had to dig it up, put in all new drains. We put in drain boxes. In fact, Jerry is going to be wrapping up this portion of the project today, because we just got some fresh gravel in. And this is one of those cases, like we didn't show you this, but this is the box that we did install. We showed you that. But it turned out, because of the grade, this box was a little low. So ingenious Jerry came up with an idea how to raise actually like the surface level of the box. The drain is still down in there, but it was raised up, reinforced with concrete. He's gonna fill this in with all this wash stone, so we don't have a dip here, but all the water will still drain through here and then out through another new flower bed that we had to create. So the driveway portion is, I know it looks a little funny because we got like 3 different gravels going on. Just wait, we're gonna fix that today. It's gonna look nice and smooth because, like I said, we got 2 loads of gravel to date. So the drainage system so far has worked great. Now, it did decide to stop raining for a couple of weeks. Just last night, we got our first nice rain. We got a little over an inch. It did happen at night, so we were a little bummed that it was at night because we couldn't actually see how the water was flowing. But we were coming out here, turning on all the different lights and trying to see everything. The walkway drained beautifully. There was just a little stream of water, which is what it's supposed to do, between those drain boxes. Nothing washed. We don't have mulch anywhere. So far, everything looks great. We will keep you updated on that. Talking about all those drains. So we have all those drains with really thick, heavy corrugated pipe, solid pipe that runs. We had to, again, tear up this entire space, and it goes through. Actually, Brenna's over there right now investigating because she probably smells things that came out of the pipe. So down here, underneath this flower bed is where that drain came through. And because we had to send the drain through here, we had to tear up this flower bed. If you remember, the daylilies, these are just yellow daylilies, came all the way right up to here on the driveway. So to put the drain in, we had to remove those. And while we were here, we're like, you know what? Let's just make this bed bigger. Why not? So of course we came in here, put our fun. This is a Japanese black pine. This is called an umbrella pine. It is really fun in that standard form. So we have that. We have more hydrangeas. These are the tiny quick fires, nice panicles. They're going to stay nice and petite up front so that we can see them. The Skyzicarium grass with the chameleon, put some sedums in here. Then we did the little raspberry butterfly bushes, those butterfly candies. We've got evergreen structure of the berry boxes. These are going to give us fun winter interest because they're going to have little red berries all over them. So we have 2 groups of 3 of these guys. Like I said, the chameleons, and then down front, we have the Perfecto Mundo double white azalea. And we've got some of them that are starting to bloom already. So the Perfecto Mundos, they are a rebloomer. They're gonna bloom 3 times a year, heavy in the spring and the fall, and then you're gonna get a smattering of flowers in the summer. Of course, azaleas are evergreen. They're gonna be nice and low and wide. So in this bed, again, going for those 4 seasons of interest, we've got evergreens, we've got grasses with movement, we've got flowers for the summer, we've got the fun Japanese umbrella pine. So lots of different things going on in here. We're filling in this area with those perennials and those shrubs to take down a little less work in the spring of filling things with annuals. Still absolutely can come in here and put pockets if we want to because we have room while we're waiting on these shrubs to grow. So there you go. So this is what this bed is. Now with all of our flower beds, we've been using the Daddy Pete soil enhancer, and soil enhancer is just a fancy word because it does enhance your soil, obviously, but it's aged pine bark fines. Of course, in North Carolina, we have tons of pine trees. Daddy Pete is a North Carolina company, so it is a regional product. So if you're in California, I doubt you're gonna be able to get Daddy Pete, but maybe you can find somebody else that has the aged pine bark fines. We have just found that it works really well for us because even with the rain last night, because it was coming down heavy, that even on a little slope, it does not wash. Now, if you get a massive gully washer, yes, you could get little areas where things are gonna run. But you know what? That happens in anybody's garden, right? And so it drains well. As it breaks down, it turns into compost. As we're planting plants and it gets mixed in, it amends our clay soil. So that's why we like the Daddy Pete soil enhancer. And honestly, yes, I think we can get it in massive bulk, like tractor trailer loads. But 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing projects, I'm by myself and I have it in the bag. It's light, I can pick it up, I can move it, I can take it to places that the machinery really can't get into, or if it does, it's gonna make a huge mess. So it's easy for me to move around with it in the bags. So that's why we use it. Now, getting back to the project, we completely redid the sidewalk, the walkway, right? We had that sidewalk that was here originally when we built the house, concrete. It had some fun shape to it, but it was always a problem because of how the water drained. It just, you know, it was what it was. So what we did is we used the Belgard products. So all the stone products that we use, we get from Site One, and we use the Belgard. They just have a fantastic line of stoneware for any kind of your outdoor projects. So what we have here is this beautiful stone that is in the slate, and this is the Holland. So the pavers that you see, this is the Holland style, and it is the color of slate, which is just a nice dark gray. Now we went with gray overall because the terrace project that we did, the whole terrace garden that was last summer, all of that stoneware is that light gray. Our patio in the back of the house, that is gray. Yes, our brick is red. The red is an accent color. We did not want to do red walkways. We wanted to do gray because it's a nice neutral color and it pops against the landscaping. So we laid it down in a herringbone pattern. We did go ahead and edge it with that same Holland and slate. So it is turned on the sides, so it kind of gives it a border. And then of course the herringbone all the way through. Because we had to deal with water, and the idea is obviously you don't want water flowing up. You want water to be here and flow down into the driveway. So the grade is correct. So your step area at the front of the house is higher, and then there's a slight grade back towards the driveway. So when we do get rain, it will flow this way. Another thing to help water from coming in, one, the flower beds help tremendously, but also we installed this edger. And so this is the Anglia edger, again, from Belgard. And this is in the Cotswold Mist. They only offer 2 colors in the Anglia, and so this is Cotswold Mist. It is substantial. Y'all, there are 4 different sizes of pieces in this edger, and so we like the Cotswold Mist obviously because it's in that gray blues. It blends really well with what we are doing, but these are really substantial. So you see about 3 to 4 inches sticking out, but there's what, 4 inches or more that is buried in the ground. So it is meant to be an edger on driveways, curbs. Now, do I want a tractor trailer coming through here and running over them? No, I do not. But general wear and tear, I mean, you can step on them, you can kick them, they're not moving because these guys are solid. So this way, one, it does help keep water out. We've kind of solved that, but it also is a nice, beautiful border between the flower beds and the walkway. So that goes all the way through the walkway and then along the driveway through all of the beds in this area. So it just frames the house and the gardens really nicely. All right, speaking of gardens, on this side, of course, like I said, we're in North Carolina. Azaleas, iconic with the South. So we went big. We went with the Perfecto Mundo pink carpet. So pink carpet, as its name suggests, is going to be low and wide, hence why we put it here in the front. These are not going to be your old-timey, your grandmama's, my mama's, azaleas that get 8 feet tall. No, they're going to be nice and short and wide. Beautiful, soft baby doll, double pink bloom. We space them so that at maturity, they're going to basically fill in this bed. So that we put them right in the center of this bed. This bed is 5 feet wide. Of course, this was all grass. So we formed this, we built this up, got these guys in here and spaced them 4 feet apart. So at maturity, there will be just a little bit of space between them, but they're really going to fill in and just make a huge, gorgeous display come this spring. I cannot wait to see them. So they go from all the way from the driveway, all the way around the side of the Hortsman. Of course, we repeated, right? We have the New Gen Independence. We have the Mucho Gusto Abelia. We've got the Chameleon Grass. And where we had 4 Firelight Tidbits up to the front, now we have a kind of tidbit corner, shall we say. So we did a mass planting of the Firelight Tidbits here underneath the Hortsman and in front of our tea olives. So these guys, again, the idea is that they are going to fill in, and it is going to be a massive, beautiful hedge of nothing but these gorgeous hydrangeas. Now, Does it bother me that I am going to have deciduous shrubs in front of my house for a couple of months out of the year? Absolutely not. It does not bother me one bit because, one, I didn't have shrubs here before. I didn't have an evergreen interest here. I've got my azaleas to give me evergreen. I've got my horsemen. I have got my tea olives. All of those are evergreen. So in the wintertime, the hydrangeas are going to, quote, kind of disappear. Yes, you're going to have your sticks, but you're not going to see those. You're going to see all the other things. So for us, we wanted to have a huge display of hydrangeas throughout the majority of our growing season. And Firelight Tidbits, my gosh, y'all, we have put them through the paces in different areas, both here at the nursery and off property, and it has done nothing but fantastic results. Now, with this bed, we also had to make it bigger because as we came around, we extended this bed by probably another 5 feet or so, at least, because my horseman has gotten nice and big. And so this is a wonderful thing, but I was kind of running out of space. So by extending this bed, we were able to have the azaleas. We could have fit the tidbits in there without extending the bed, but then we wouldn't have any room for the azaleas. And of course, we wanted the azaleas to come all the way through, and then they end right here at the end of the tea olives. So just this whole space ties together as one. Having the pink carpets come through here is going to have that repetition, that ribbon that ties in the whole beds. Having tidbits down here, tidbits up here, having chameleon grasses down here and up there and in the front bed, all of that ties together. So when you're thinking about designing your landscape, think about what plant or what color can I repeat throughout a very large space that ties it all in together. That is how I have dramatically grown as a gardener, as a designer. I would say in the last 5 years is seeing that where you need to have that plant, that color, that structure that repeats in a large area to make all the different gardens come together as one. That brings the cohesiveness and peacefulness to your eye, as opposed to like feeling like it's a hodgepodge of a bunch of little different gardens stuck together. So speaking of that, we're going to move here to the side. Now, while this is, I guess, technically one garden because it all flows together, I do see it very differently because our front stays in the shade. Today's a beautiful cloudy day, hence why we're filming, but it stays in the shade until probably about noon is when the azaleas will go into the sun, and then the sun comes back because the sun sets over here. So this whole front bed gets hot, intense afternoon sun. The Electra Blue, my butterfly bushes, they get that intense hot afternoon sun. Then as we wrap around, this bed gets tons of morning sun because this is east, so this will stay in the sun different parts of it till about 11 o'clock noon, and then it's in complete shade for the rest of the day. So morning sun, afternoon shade. I really do treat it as a shade garden, but since we have more than doubled the size and plants have come out, the plants that I put here in the front are going to be more sun tolerant. Everything in the back that you see that's nice and big and mature was already here, right? So we left that. Mimi and I had the most fun. We were digging things up. We were moving. We were jiving. We were just putting things in different places. We were dividing. So a lot of this stuff was already here. We just moved it around or divided it. And then, of course, I had plants from other parts of the gardens in pots and so forth that we brought in. So running through this really quickly. Again, I want year-round color and structure because the vast majority of this bed that was really hugging the house was very narrow. I didn't have a lot of winter interest because I had beautiful hostas and those kinds of things. But in the wintertime, I had my camellia and I had my holly fern, and that was it. Now I'm going to have a beautiful color year-round, because like we added the Savannah urn. So do not be afraid to put containers in your garden, right? So this brings a whole different dimension to your bed. Folks that deal with moles or voles or rabbits, they're not going to get the plants that are in the containers when it's raised up. It brings me a different element. This is going to be an annual planting for me. So this is my fall winter, beautiful evergreen perennials, the cast iron plant, the gold mop camariciferous, my brilliance autumn fern, this lunar falls carex, the peachberry ice euchera. So we have got lots of structure in here that's going to be evergreen for my fall and winter. We put in a new stormproof. So stormproof hydrangea. It is going to be, again, that repeat, guaranteed to have flowers on it throughout the season. We did have a hydrangea pushed further back in the back with the Solomon seal. It had just gotten super floppy, and even though I had pruned it different ways, it had gotten floppy, so it got relocated to a less high visibility area. So it is out of here, and then we did stormproof, because stormproof is going to be really nice and tight and compact in that 3 to 4 foot range, which is great, right? And the fun thing about the stormproof, literally it is brand new, but I did not realize how much the honeybees love this, because those blooms are what we would consider like a lace cap macrophylla. So it still is that, or not macrophylla, mop top, right? So it's the brown balls, but they're very, very open. So when we have rain, the water flows right through it, but those flower petals are more open, and so your honeybees love this. So we have got that. And then of course we had fun with like evergreen perennials. So my Ascot rainbow, which is one of my favorite perennials, it is a euphorbia, a spurge, but it is going to be an evergreen, nice and soft. So I think we've got 4 or 5 of those dotted throughout here. We have got various carex grasses like the Everillo. Everillo is that bright chartreuse, has that nice kind of that weeping mounded habit to it. Give me a little bit more sun tolerant, putting it right there beside a little taffy, which is beautiful. And then of course we have got more hydrangeas in here. So this is the Tiny Tough Stuff. Tiny Tough Stuff is a mountain hydrangea. It is a lace cap, and Tiny Tough Stuff, as its name suggests, is going to be really nice and short and petite. So this is going to be in that 1.5 to 2 foot tall. And the serratas, the mountain hydrangeas, tend to be more sun tolerant, more drought tolerant, because when the sun comes this way, they do get a shot of afternoon sun. I know when we were planting, you saw that they were kind of wilting on me, but when we added that beautiful compost around them and the mulch, the wilting stopped, because it really held in the moisture and it regulated the temperature of the roots. It's like a thermal blanket. And so they are absolutely stunning. So these are going to be pH dependent. So they're going to be in those pinks, blues, purples. Mama has Tough Stuff, which is the original one. And on her plants, she literally has pink, blue, and purple on one flower head. So I cannot wait to see how these are going to develop. We moved ferns, so don't let the ferns, the hellebores, this is pink frost. It was one massive one. Mama divided it for me, and so out of one massive plant, we got 7 plants. So they look rough. They absolutely look rough. It's okay. The roots underneath are happy, and in fact, what I'm probably going to do is just going to come through and cut the foliage for my hellebores and my ferns, because when we get the first freeze, all of this is going to die anyway. So this is just called end of summer stress, and then I ripped them out of their home and move them, and so they look rough. But again, if I just go through here and just cut them straight to the ground, they will be fine. So we've got that. Throughout you will see the lunar falls. So we have the Everillo, we've got lunar falls, which is a new carex, a nice white. So we have got grasses in the front with chameleon, then we've got Everillos, and we have got lunar falls. So those grasses are going to come through here as well. We've got the Fairy Trail Fresco. We've got 2 of these in here, that weeping, cascading hydrangea. So I did, in order to make it cascade, you have to help it a little bit. So I took landscape staples and very gently pulled down those really long stems and just kind of secured them. So I'm pushing them down. Over the winter, these stems are going to harden. Come next spring, I can take the staples out, but they will still stay down. As new things are growing and get really long, then I will gently pull them down and secure them as well, because it's going to have truly, it goes up and then spills out. So fresco is going to be that pH dependent as well. We had them in urns. I started these as quartz, y'all. These were quartz in April, and this is how much they have grown in one growing season. They're blues, they're pinks, they're stunning, they're gorgeous. So we've got those. We have got a Durvilla. So Kodiak orange is a native shrub. It is deciduous, that's okay. I've got plenty of other structure in here. Be about a 4x4. Durvillas, of course, do beautiful yellow flowers in that springtime. So this will be really fun. I've got a spider's web Fatsia back here. This guy is going to grow fast. This too was a quart that I pulled from our online inventory. This is going to be about 4 feet wide, 5 to 6 feet tall if it is happy. And so far it is very happy. The only thing I may have to kind of be careful about is the winter time in the cold. But this is why I put it here, because my camellia is going to give it a little bit of a break, plus the Electra Blue, plus the pot. So when those cold winter winds come through, it will have some protection. But it's a beautiful variegated Fatsia right here that is an evergreen. So we've got those. Now, more hydrangeas, because one can never have too many hydrangeas in their garden, now can she? So here we have 3 of the Let's Dance Skyview. So Let's Dance Skyview is a reblooming macrophylla. They call it a continuous blooming macrophylla. So this is gonna be that classic hydrangea bloom that you're thinking of. More than likely for us, it will be in that blue range because we tend to have acidic soil. Gonna be a little bit bigger than my tiny tough stuffs. And you know what, y'all? If these grow and are super happy in 3 to 4 years and they're starting to outgrow some of my perennials, guess what? I just moved the perennials. As a gardener, you're professional plant movers. We're constantly moving and tweaking. So the Let's Dance Skyview, super excited about this because even though it's a MAC, it is a reblooming. And so if I do get those cold winter winds, that late spring frost or freeze that kills the initial blooms, my blooms are coming, they just may be a little bit delayed, which I'm totally fine with as long as I get some blooms during the summer. Then this fun little guy, so many people were asking about this. This is a Japanese maple. This is Makawa Yatsubusa. This was a gift from our friends at Mr. Maple. And I was online last night, they have them available. Now, if you look at this, and in fact, I just figured this out last night. If you look at this Makawa, you're like, that is a funky shape. Because if you look at a traditional Makawa, it can be like the foliage all the way down. Well, this is grafted high. So the graft is up here, and so this is all, it's in like a pom-pom style. So you have got all of this. I'm not sure if this is the graft or this is the Makawa. So I'll have to be careful about that and make sure that it is the Makawa and not the grafted root. But of course, this is going to give me fun color, spring, summer, it's nice and green, and then in the fall, that fiery red and the orange color is gonna be really neat. Even though in the wintertime it's going to lose all of its leaves, it is going to give me structure. My Aurelia Sun Kings will die completely to the ground. In fact, I may go ahead and kind of chop it because it is looking rough. It is an herbaceous perennial. It will die completely to the ground. So I'm not going to hurt it if I cut it all the way to the ground now. So we'll still have the structure of the branches of the Japanese maple. Coming through, we're going into the more shady area. So this is where I bring in my big, beautiful hostas. This is the Shadowland Lone Star. It was in a pot. Mimi transferred it for me and y'all were laughing at how she just threw it down in the ground. Yes, she did. It is doing great. So we've got the Shadowland Lone Star, we've got Shadowland Hudson Bay, which is a really dark hosta. This is why I put it in my shadiest corner. And then behind that, I have got my cast iron plant, the Aspidistra. Aspidistra loves its shady, dry shade. That's why it's back in the back. It will be nice and dry back there and the shade, but give me evergreen structure with when my hostas disappear and my Sun King disappears for the wintertime. Of course, we have what I call Annette's holly fern right there. This is from our sweet friend Annette, who lives in Texas. She gifted that to me when we visited, I don't know, 6 years ago. You know, as a gardener, you're not, there is no shaming your game when you're like, hey, can I have a little bit of that plant? And she was like, sure. So that is Annette's holly fern, and so it is an evergreen as well. We have got another hosta that looks rough. This, I believe this is T-Rex. And so we got T-Rex here. We have got the white feather. We have got Invincible wee white, because why not have another hydrangea in here? Absolutely. This cute little hosta, this is Wrinkle in Time, nice and petite. We'll do really fun, cute, funky purple flowers on it. Really have a really unique look to them. Coming back with another fairy trail fresco. So the frescoes kind of frame this area. I forgot my dwarf Colorado blue spruce. So excited about this sweet thing because it came from our friends at Stone Nursery. So we have got this guy in here and absolutely gorgeous. Same place that we got the umbrella pine for, and Brunnera, more ferns, bringing in the lunar falls all the way down. We have got 3 different kinds of pulmonaria in here. So pulmonaria is a beautiful shade perennial, deer rabbit resistant because it's very fuzzy, has that spots on it. As one of you sweet people said in when we were doing this video, when we were planting it, you're like, pulmonaria is such a diva because when you move it, she freaks out and she's like, oh my gosh, which is so true. But once it gets established, it is a tough, tough perennial. So don't worry if your pulmonarias act all queen-like and freak out because you moved them. Just make sure they have enough water. They will be just fine. One of the plants that we moved out of a pot into the landscape early on was the paisley pup. Now, paisley pup is a dog hobble, a Leucothea, relatively new on the market. This is a beautiful evergreen shrub. Y'all, look at the color on this thing. Is it not stunning? It is going to be so much fun in this area. It will get some height to it. This is why we put it on the corner down here on the end to help anchor in this bed. But you have got greens, you have got, the new growth has got pink on it, you have got white. It will do little flowers in the early spring. Y'all, this is an amazing, mostly shade, morning sun, filtered sun, beautiful evergreen. The more water you give it, the happier it's going to be and it's going to grow. But love this paisley pup. We have got Diamond Lake hosta, so Shadowland Diamond Lake, which is going to be a really big blue hosta. It is going to fill in between the paisley pup and my zebra hydrangea, and it's going to fill in and kind of soften that edge right there. So we have got that going on. Zebra, for those of you that are faithful viewers, you saw me prune zebra in the summertime. Look at all this beautiful growth on her. This is a macrophylla. It's called zebra because the new stems are black and it does a pure white flower. So you've got the black and the white, hence the zebra. And as a side note, y'all, these, this is not new, but these are the Double Delight Blush Rose Begonias. I planted these in the springtime. This was my spring-summer planting. Dear heavens to Betsy, these things are amazing. I did have Diamond Frost in here with it, but I really have pinched out. I keep pinching the Diamond Frost out to let the begonias go. This is a beautiful, look at these blooms. Double bloom, they are gorgeous. This area gets in, you know, that morning sun starts to go in the shade, but look at the foliage. No mildew, no black spots, no bug damage. They're in a hay rack. So this is a cocoa lined hay rack. It is not on irrigation. I have to hand water it, but they have filled in and are absolutely stunning. So if you have that morning sun, afternoon shade area, especially in containers, if you're wet like me with the clay soil, get some of these Double Delights. There's several different colors of them, but I just wanted to show you this because these are one of the few annuals in a container that I still have from the spring that have handled our heat and humidity just fine. So there you go on that. So we do projects like this to really give you inspiration and ideas and just to have fun to watch, because here in the South, fall is the primo time to do big projects like this. Because if you're going to be reseeding and aerating your lawn like we did, let's just go ahead and tear things up and make things messy, and then we have plenty of time to get them cleaned up and beautiful again for next. I'm already cheating on this garden. I'm thinking about 2026, right? So we have plenty of time to get it ready for that. It really is the fall, and when I say fall in the South, I am talking about mid-September through December, because those temperatures can still be quite warm in September, October, and then finally we start to get some cool temperatures that it really starts to cool down at night. The roots have plenty of time to get really well established. We're getting more consistent rain. So this is when I want to put in my trees, my shrubs. This is when I want to move and divide my perennials. This is when I want to add my hydrangeas to my garden, because they have all winter to think and focus on root growth, not so much top foliar growth that happens in the spring and the summer. So when the heat and the humidity hit next summer, these guys are going to be already well established and they can handle it so much better than if I planted this stuff in late spring. You can do it. It's just going to take a lot of work on you to make sure that everybody is happy and healthy throughout the season. So again, our idea when we do these projects is for you, our viewers, to get an idea. Do you find a plant that you love? Is there a planting concept that you're like, oh, I like how she placed these plants? Maybe you don't use those plants at all because you're in a completely different growing zone, but you like the way that we place things, and so you can take the plants that grow, bloom, and thrive in your zone, and you can get ideas on placement with how we did. Something as simple as, see my cute little mushrooms in here, right? The little decorative shroomies we've got. Well, remember we had to put in a French drain in here to make sure that this bed drained. So when Mimi and I were in here, she said, Jenny, you're gonna have to remember where your French drain is. So guess what those little shroomies are doing? That's right, they're marking the place of where my French drain is. So now I know the trajectory of where the French drain is, so I'm not gonna go in there and plant like a 15-gallon tree right on top of it. So those little shroomies are a visual, yes, they're super cute, but they also say, hey Jenny, this is your French drain, beware. So again, massive, huge undertaking. We are all so glad to have our house back, our driveway back, to get out of the dust, especially when Jerry finishes up today with all of the gravel. It will be fantastic. He is going to put the drone up to give you a nice big viewpoint of everything. And so we appreciate all of your support and your encouragement and your kind words throughout this big project. As always, we so appreciate you. If you have found it fun and informative, we would love it if you would like and subscribe. Share the video with those in your gardening circle or your friends who you think might also find it interesting. As always, we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.